keep it up.
Whoa, Prix!
Oh no, big mistake!
Go back to Aston and down to 10th.
No, he's not an early conference.
It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
Well, a very good evening to all of you, and welcome along to the 2018 Formula Sim Racing World Championship. We're here at round 8 of 12. We're getting into real crunch time at the tail end of this season, and well, we've headed this week to one of the classics. It's been a mainstay of the World Championship calendar since its inaugural season. It's the Italian Grand Prix at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. It is the temple of speed, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing a wonderful event unfold before us over the next 2 hours or so. My name is James Kirk. We've got on cameras, as always, Mr. Peter Schulze, who'll be joining us on comms later on. But for now, to keep me company, I've got, as always, Mr. Cameron, Rodger, and Cam. Monza, it produces no matter what the situation, whether it's real racing, whether it's virtual racing, single seaters or otherwise. It is always a pleasure to come to this Italian legend of a track.
Yeah, it is one of my personal favorites, I have to say, and it's such a unique track. I mean, you'll see people here running some really low downforce because it's literally 4 straights with a corner in between each of them. And the drivers will be having some good fun with slipstream and fuel saving and all that when it comes to the race. But for qualifying, because we're running such low downforce, the car's going to be not quite as planted as they're used to in other tracks, and maybe not quite as comfortable through the corners as they would expect. So there might be some hectic moments here in qualifying as well.
5.8 kilometers of tarmac. You spend over 80% of this lap on the throttle. It's truly incredible, and it really does test whether you know your setup, whether you are really running that low downforce. How low can you go? How much can you get away with? It's the problem that these drivers have been needing to deal with over the past couple of weeks, and they're putting it to the test now. We're in 20 minutes of qualifying. Each of these drivers has 4 laps available to them to try and set the fastest lap they can, of which Eros Masciuli, the Italian, at his home circuit, of course, setting the first time of the day, a 1:18.476. We're going to be definitely seeing quicker than that into the 1:17s. Interesting situation, though, for Monza, in a similar way to Spa-Cam, is that there is the possibility of slipstreaming between teammates, between stablemates, maybe. It's often a much maligned practice because more often than not it doesn't come off. However, if the stars align, and more importantly if the cars align in the right places at the right time, there is a lot to be gained.
The thing with slipstream here is you got to do it at the right time, and because the straights are so long, if you get it right you will literally gain about 2 or 3 tenths, but you have to practice it. So I wouldn't be surprised if some guys try and go for it, but I would assume on sort of the 2nd, 3rd or 4th run, I assume all these first laps are going to be sort of banker runs, trying to get a good lap in, because as you say, it can actually hinder you, because while you're trying to do your lap, you're actually thinking, where's my teammate? Where is he? Is he going to be there? Is he too far away? Am I close enough? Am I going to have to back off? And all of this. So it is something you do have to practice, but when you get it right, you will gain enough time to get yourself a few positions up the grid.
I'm just seeing Peter Burlack there going across the De La Rosier chicane. So I think he's not on a fast lap. That's good for him, because big news for him, of course, Cam, is that he's the first person outside of Jurne Simoncic and Michele D'Alessandro, going over my tongue there, to take a race win this season. That is a huge statement from the ex-champion.
Yeah, that was his first win since, what was it, late 2016. So in about a year and a half, it was his first win. And obviously he didn't do many races last year. He was only a reserve in a few, but that was very good for him to come back last time out. And he won that race quite comfortably. I know Michele D'Alessandro got that drive-through penalty, which sort of gave it to Petter in the end. But he's really starting to sort of build up that confidence again, I think, because at the start of the season he was always there, but Patel and D'Alessandro sort of had the edge on him with obviously with them being teammates and sister teammates. But now he's really starting to show the talent that he has got, being the Vegas Sea Race finalist and also world champion in 2015.
Let's stay with him on this lap, shall we? He's just negotiated the first pass of this course, the Del Rettifilo chicane, followed up by Curva Grande into the Della Rosier chicane now, navigating that a lot better than on his outlap. Moving his way through the Lesmos. This is turn 6, followed up by turn 7. And, well, they call it the Curva del Seraglio, but it's just this curved straight, so we won't really worry too much about that. We are going to worry, though, about one of the iconic corner complexes, Variante Ascari. Oh, and really leaving it out to dry on the edge there. It's very nice and simple to the line now. You've got this massive back straight, followed up by a heavy braking zone into the Parabolica. You'll see plenty of gravel out there, no silly asphalt. And out we go. Let's see where the Croatian goes. He goes P3, so 1:18.030. That puts him just over a tenth behind our provisional pole sitter, Manuel Biancalila for Twister. Nosebleeds for the outfit which has been part of World Championship for a long time.
Yeah, I think they might even be the oldest team in World Championship. Actually, Netrex are probably the oldest team,
Well,
but Twister have certainly been around. Oh, and yeah, Jene Simoncic has now gone just a bit faster than that, but that's still a good lap from Biancalila, who hasn't really had the best season. He's had penalties and whatnot, and just generally not the best races, but they're up in P2. He's obviously been doing some practice over the little break that we had.
Of course, it's his home track as well. And, well, if you want a bit of an idea of Twister's heritage, 2009 and 2015 teams champions. They are, in fact, if you go by teams champions, the most successful team on the grid. It's quite bizarre to see them so far down, but maybe this is the turning point in their season. We'll have to wait and see. Michi Hoyer, Jene Simoncic's teammate there, moving into P3, and the top 5 currently rounding out by Danny Kish. So we've got plenty more laps to come, Cam. We've got over 10 minutes still left of this qualifying session, and I think there's still plenty of guys who can move around. Jim Paresis down there in P9, not, maybe looking to move up a little bit. Of course, D'Alessandro, he still hasn't set a hot lap, though. Is he on one now? I'm just going to check the timings. No, he is not.
He's just starting one right now.
So he must have abandoned that initial lap. And we'll see what the championship leader can do on this particular one. He's actually gone onto this lap at a terrible time, because there's a lot of traffic coming out the pit lane, and he didn't really take the Retifilia well at all. And in free practice, he seemed to be struggling a little bit, actually.
Oh, maybe he is. Not everyone can have a perfect season, which he has almost had, to be honest, this first half of first almost 2/3 of the season now. He has been absolutely the best driver by far on an average basis. But maybe this is, I don't know, maybe some pressure, maybe he just hasn't had the best practice, because this is a bit of a unique track. But obviously down into that first chicane, that was purely just bad timing of people coming out the pit lane. Drivers being told that they do actually need to go around the first chicane as well, even when people are coming around with blue flags. So that was obviously a bit of an awkward situation for him, but he's coming around the final corner now. Let's see, he's done actually a purple middle sector, so he's certainly not slow at all in that middle sector. What has he done? He's going to go up to P8, so only just over 2.5 tenths off pole, but he's down in P8, which is showing just how close the field is right now.
He lost about 5 tenths on that first sector, and it's not hard to see why he completely messed up to the chicane. He was caught in traffic. Better to come from the Italian, certainly. And I also want to turn our attention to the man behind him in P9, Kian White. Oh, what an explosive debut he made in the World Championship last time out in Spa, only to be ripped away from a brilliant point-scoring finish by lag, by a disconnection. The Irishman has a lot of potential, and I certainly hope, I think we both hope that we see a lot more of that from him today.
Yeah, see, with the Breslin team coming in as of last race, they got Michael Ayres, who is a full-time driver. This is actually his debut because he couldn't make the race last time out. He was down in 16th place. But yeah, Kian White, who's currently racing in the Ace Championship, he actually just moved up from Pro to Ace, but he's certainly making big improvements in his speed, and he's really looking to challenge the top guys in WC. So, you know, we wonder if we see him in a WC seat very soon. But yeah, there in P9, he was in, I think it was P6 when he had that unfortunate lag, as you said, in Spa. But yeah, he is really, really showing that he has got some class here in the WC field.
Flying the flag for flag to flag today. So we'll wait and see what he can do replacing Villa La Pala for this particular round. I look down the order, and there's an unfamiliar face there in P19. Mohammed Patel not gotten his act together yet, and with 9 minutes remaining, he's going to have to put in a good one, as his teammate actually shows just how much pace that car's got. A 117.786 puts him into provisional pole.
Yeah, and he's coming around the corner, who's got same middle sector, but a faster first sector. Can this go pole? And oh no, he lost some time in the final sector, half a tenth off. He improved his time, but he stayed in that same position. So yeah, ACR and Musto again looking very close up the top there. Yeah, you are correct. Actually, Kian is actually racing for flag to flag this time, not Breslin spot.
I think that's a smart signing in terms of a replacement. Let's take a little look at Patel then. In terms of podiums, Mohammed Patel actually has, I don't know whether it's a record that you want necessarily, but he's got the most podiums this season, 4 to Hoyer and Burlack's 3. It shows that our reigning champion, of course, is consistent, still has the pace. Where do you think he's been lacking in comparison to Simičić and D'Alessandro this time around?
I don't know, to be honest. Not quite sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest. He's obviously such a good driver, but clearly just not having the best season for whatever reason. He's definitely got the ability to be multiple race winner when he wants to be, but it clearly just hasn't come together this season.
We'll keep tabs on his lap, but I want to move our attention to the aforementioned D'Alessandro here, who's set. It's a good first sector. It's a good second sector. It's not looking like it's going to be provisional pole for the Italian, but surely this is going to move him up into the top 5. No, in fact, by 4 thousandths of a second, he's not able to beat out his compatriot, Eros Mashuli. Struggles here for D'Alessandro for potentially the first time this season.
Well, we did see back in Canada, I don't think you were actually commentating that race, but back in Canada, he did qualify down in P11, and he won the race.
Yes, you're right. You're very right. Good call.
So, actually, no, sorry, he didn't win the race. Simičić won, but he got back to second.
He was close to it.
Yeah, he got back to second because Simičić romped off into the distance. But yeah, you know, it's not all over for him if he does qualify this low down, because he's really only focusing on Simičić at this point in the championship. And I'm sure, because he's a couple of tenths off, that says to me it's maybe a race setup. Because obviously, he has the ability to get
the Sabema Musto versus ACR battle. We've been talking about it all season, where ACR seemed to go more qualifying and the Musto stable seemed to go more race. Definitely showing Mohammed Patel's lap. He's just gone into P14. To be fair, it's a statement as to how close the grid is at the moment. Martin Gosby going up into P4. He was looking good in free practice, certainly. The entire field of times that have been set are all within a second of each other. Remco Major just going in with a 118.774. So all 22 drivers with a time set, all within a second. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, it really does say how close this field is. Also, it does help with the track, and even Remco, who was a pro driver last year, stepped up to WC, maybe slightly out of his depth. He hasn't had too many good races this season, but even then, still being within a second is fairly good. But the fact that the field is so close, as you say, does just show how good all of these drivers are. And even these times, they're not overly quicker, especially sort of the second half, aren't overly quicker than sort of what the Ace and Pro guys were doing. So you can just see the amount of talent that's also going to be coming up in the sort of in races and seasons to come as well. The field is very close here.
Danny Kish moves his way up into P5, and speaking of 5, there is now less than 5 minutes to go. Last chance saloon for a couple of these drivers, one of which is Phil Kraus, who's joined the Breslin team. Into P12, pretty good for your first impression in the World Championship this season. Jim Paris is still down there in P14 along with Mohamed Patel. Those two are going to look to try and improve in the next couple of minutes or so. People just winding up now for that final attempt, Cam. Is now the time to try and whip out the whole slipstreaming show if you've got the opportunity to do it?
Well, you do have to work out how you do. Oh, okay, yeah, it is happening right now. Michele D'Alessandro has just come out the pit lane in front of Mohamed Patel, who is just starting his third lap out of the 4, and this is definitely what it's going to be. But obviously, this is Michele's outlap as well, so Michele doesn't want to destroy his outlap to help Mohamed, and Mohamed has got some nice slipstream there. Let's just see what his
That's not a
first sector is. Again,
oh,
yes,
no, it's okay.
It's decent, but he didn't really gain anything from it, because the whole time he was probably thinking, oh yeah, Michele's there. So now we're going to have to see how he does through the middle sector. But you do have to work out how you do it, because obviously the car has to be there to slipstream you, but obviously you don't want them to give up a lap either, because that's a chance for them to improve. So you do have to work out how you can do it, and obviously the Musto guys are trying to work out how they're going to do it now. Wonder if anyone's going to do Michele actually, because it seems he's doing a really slow outlap. No teammates about, but where is Mohamed Patel going to finish this lap? He's coming round the final corner. He's currently down in 15th, the reigning former SimRacing world champion from last year, absolutely dominant last year, not having the best race today. Where can he get? Oh God, goes to
wow!
What
I tell you what,
that was no purple sectors at all, but he manages to get pole by 0.04 of a second.
As it stands, a Musto 1-2. It was a Musto that stopped Simoncic and D'Alessandro from ruling the winning column. It's Simoncic and D'Alessandro only in the poles column as well. I wonder if it's going to be a Musto knocking them off their perch as well. Fascinating, and I'm pretty sure that Patel's... Oh, what's happened to Simoncic and Ty?
No front wing. No front wing. So I wonder if there was anything going along there, and as Michele D'Alessandro comes past, so...
There was. I was... sorry to interrupt you. I was just watching Michi Hoyer coming out of turn 2. Simoncic tried to get in position to give him slipstream, but there was an edge car on the outside waiting, and Simoncic was kind of waiting behind the edge car and tried to start giving Hoyer a slipstream, but run into the back of the edge.
Ooh. That's okay. To be fair, though, I'd understand what the edge is doing, because the edge cars, yeah, it's tying. He was just staying out the way of Hoyer coming through, whereas Simoncic wanted to pick up the slipstream. So that's a conflict of interests there between ACR and Edge.
D'Alessandro, middle sector.
D'Alessandro,
purple
that
is the middle sector. That is going to be a good luck for him.
This is looking very nice indeed. Very tasty. He's only got to make up 2.5 tenths to get into the top 3. I'm wondering whether this might very well be pole position. Here we go then. Michele D'Alessandro, he's taken 3 pole positions. Might this be number 4 by 1/10 of a second? He's on provisional pole. There's only a minute to go for these guys to at least cross the line to have one more attempt at a lap.
And that was no slipstream as well, and he's got it by 1/10 of a second.
It's all in that middle sector, isn't it?
Lap. Yeah, so maybe it is a bit of a qualifying setup, and clearly Musto just screwed up their first laps, and it wasn't them just being a bit slow. But Simoncic, now after having that bit of an accident with, was it Yaltayan, he's now got to regroup and come round the final corner to start his last lap, his last ditch for pole. He's already 2/10 of pole. When you've seen Simoncic get so many poles this season, that is a bit of a shock, but he's just starting his lap now.
I'm just trying to keep an eye on who's going to cross the line first. Let's pick up Martin Gosby, I think. Out of all the people who are going to try and pick up a pole position for themselves, or actually, no, is Burlak going to cross the line? Burlak might just be able to get another lap in here. Yep, so he's going to be fine.
Patel is coming out of the pit lane, so he's also going to be slipstreaming Burlak as they get around one part of the track.
And Simoncic is getting slipstream of Michihaya right now out of turn 1.
Oh, all the games are going right now on this last lap. It's their last chance to set an improved lap time. And did he slightly miss the apex there, Simoncic? I think he might have done.
I'd say what Martin Gosby I was looking at. Martin Gosby was on the bad end of a potential teammate thing because he had the flag-to-flag engineering team. I'm not sure which car it was, but he got in the way of him, unfortunately. We'll pick up Jone Simoncic then, as he heads down to a Sky, really the only person who can potentially challenge D'Alessandro, who's adding up. He's in the pits. He says, that's my best lap, thank you very much. And for the Slovenian, he needs to have a very, very good final 5 rounds to be able to even have a hope of trying to overtake the Italian. Here we go then, into the Parabolica. Jone Simoncic comes. It's been a good first sector, not a great second sector, and it's an improvement which only leaves him exactly a 10th off D'Alessandro. Burlak coming around the final corner now. Is Burlak going to take pole? No improvement. It's Michele D'Alessandro with his 4th pole position of the season, and what style as well, by exactly a 10th away from his championship rival.
Yeah, that was such a good lap by Michele D'Alessandro in the end. We thought he was struggling there for a second, but no, he brings it out of the bag. And with Patel and Burlak, yeah, clearly showing Musto have got a good car going here. Jone with that slipstream from Michihaya probably helped him just a little bit because his middle sector really wasn't that good, but he went purple in that final sector, which is really what helped him get the last couple of positions, because Patel was only 6 thousandths behind and Burlak is only 4.5 hundredths behind. So yeah, very close lap times here, but it was Michele who managed to get on top.
Shout out to Bianca Lila, the Twister driver, able to remain in P5. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that is Twister's best qualifying result with a single driver of the year. So well done to them. Gosby 6th, Kish 7th. Hoyer a disappointing 8th, to be honest, with Mashuli and Heras rounding out the top 10. D'Alessandro takes pole though, and we'll be back with you after these messages.
I'll keep it up.
Whoa, Prix!
Oh no, big mistake! Edwards!
Back to us and down to
No, he's in every conference.
It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
Welcome back then to the 2018 Italian Grand Prix here at Formula SimRacing. It's the World Championship sponsored by our lovely partners at Thrustmaster. And after a thrilling and exhilarating qualifying session, we are ready to head into the race itself. It's going to be 53 laps long, so one of our quickest Grand Prix of the season. But before we head on to the grid, let's just take a little look at our championship standing, starting with the drivers. It's not necessarily end game just yet. 125 points maximum still on offer, so in theory everyone down to P11 is still in with a mathematical chance of overhauling Michele D'Alessandro, but really it's only the top 4 that we're going to be looking at here. D'Alessandro with a huge lead of 145 over Simoncic with 109. You then have Patel a further 10 back, Burlak a further 7 back. Remember, he non-scored 2 rounds ago, so doing very well still to be up there is Petter. Is D'Alessandro going to extend that lead? Well, after qualifying, it's looking very good that he... Well, it's looking... Let's put it this way. Let me put my words to you in a better format than I was just then. The odds are very good on him. Teams Championship, much closer to be fair. Musto Racing taking the lead after last time out in Spa. 191 points to Avid Chronic's 182. You then have Sabema roughly a further 40 points back. And then everyone else is just in a completely different tier. Edge Esports in 4th. Over 100 points behind Sabema, let alone Musto. So it's those 3 in with a chance of the team's title, though looking more likely to go to Musto versus Avid Chronic. Plenty to look forward to, Cam. I'm just excited to see which way the championship swings this time around.
It is looking good for a certain Italian in this field. However, it is not all over. We have seen last time Michele making some mistakes with getting that drive-through penalty. Yerne can still pretty much win this himself by going out and winning the races. So he has every chance. He just needs to make sure to not keep losing points to Yerne. Otherwise, it will get to a point where Michele needs to DNF and stuff like that, which is going to be a tough ask.
You did the maths. Was last time out the swing for the championship to be out of Simoncic's hands, or is it this time around where it's going to be taken out of his hands?
Well, by my calculations, he's 36 points behind, and if he wins every race and Michele comes second, that's 35. So if Michele finishes second every race, then he has the championship. But we've seen last time out, Burlak won. Patel's getting on the podium a lot. Even Kiss is looking to challenge up there. Hoyer, Gosby. There's a lot still left in this championship, and I wouldn't start talking about that for a couple of races.
I think that's a very fair point indeed. Of course, Musto Racing, along with their driver, Patel being the reigning Drivers' Championship, Musto are the reigning Teams Champions. And so that championship was under threat, certainly in the early part of this season with Avid Chronic Racing. Will the white and blue cars strike back in the Italian Grand Prix, or is it going to be the black shadows of Musto that reign supreme once again? We're all going to find out the answers to the many questions that we have as we head onto the grid. And I'd like to formally introduce now to the comms booth, Mr. Peter Schulze, who's going to take us through your grid for the 2018 Italian Grand Prix.
Yes, and here we can see we have Michele D'Alessandro in pole position, Yannis Simoncic, his championship contender, his #1 championship contender in P2 next to him. Then behind them, a full Musto row. 3rd for Muhammad Patel, 4th for Peter Perljak. Then behind them in 5th, Manuel Biancolilla, P6th, Martin Gosby, flag to flag. 7th, Daniel Kish for Netrex. Michi Hoyer only in 8th this time around for Abbott Chronic Racing. In P9 we have Eros Mashley, P10 Sergio Harris, behind them are Florian Becker and Kian White. In P13 we have Jim Prix, Phil Grouse in 14th next to him, then Jarl Tyen and Jos Arenada in 15th and 16th. We have Florian Geyer and Germano Zappalo in the row behind them, 19th for Renz Klopp and P20 for Kirill Birukov. 21st we have Michael Ayers and Remco Mayer on 22nd, and then we have Felix van Delft and Dylan Scrivens, who are both starting from the pit lane, I think. Yeah, and that's the grid for today.
24 drivers out of a total of 28. So a couple of teams not here. I think Thrustmaster is certainly not here. I'm trying to figure out who the other one is, to be honest. Pescara.
Pescara is one?
Oh, Pescara is here, yeah. Schulze.
I think Trustmaster's one driver missing.
Ghost Speed.
Poet might be one driver missing.
There's no Ghost Speed yet.
There is no Ghost Speed. And so our 2008 champions fall by the wayside along with Thrustmaster for this particular round, unfortunately. In terms of tyre choices, all of the top 10, of course, are on the softest compound tyre available, which in this particular round is the Ultra Softs. Below them, however, Peter, there is not a single driver on the Ultra Softs. That tells me that these purple tyres are not the best race tyres in the world.
Not certainly. It just means that everyone behind the top 10 tries to do something different. Because if they would do the same as the top 10, they wouldn't gain any position.
That's a very good way of looking at it, actually. And of course, if you're new here, reminder, each of the drivers has to use more than one compound of tyre available. So you can use Ultra Softs and Softs in this particular case. You can use Super Softs and Ultras. The choice is up to you, as long as you use 2 compounds. Plenty of potential strategies to play out throughout the race as well, though. All bodes to be very fascinating indeed as our drivers arrive back on the starting grid. As I say, 53 laps ahead of us, looking to be one of the shortest Grand Prix of the season.
I think it's only... Oh no, it's 50. Sorry.
Yes, yeah, 53. Don't worry. I'm definitely... I look ahead. I don't get those stats wrong. Not often, anyway. But yeah, going to be fascinating to see whether we've got differing slipstreaming options, who's really running the lower wing. How's Bianca Lilla going to expand Delft? Slots into position with Dylan Scrivens at the end of the pit lane. We now look up to the lights. And they go out! And we're racing here in Monza. And it looks like a fantastic start from Patel in third, although he's been blocked out to some degree by D'Alessandro and Simoncic ahead. Going into turn 1, though, here goes Simoncic for the lead of the race. D'Alessandro sweeps around the outside of the Rettifilier, contact and exit, but he's able to hold it for now as we head into the Curva Grande. It looks like Michi Hoyer's had a terrible start. He's falling down the order, all the way down to P14. A terrible start for the German. As we head into the Della Rosier now with the leaders. D'Alessandro still leading from Simoncic. Bianca Lilla up to 5th position. He has, oh, what a great move on Danny Kish there. I think Martin Gosby must have made a mistake because there is now a huge gap between him and the Hungarian ahead of him. Mashuli 8th, Heras 9th. Kian Weiss made his way up into the top 10. A real split then between Kish and Gosby of about a second or so, allowing this top 6 to move away towards the Ascari at a fast rate then. In they go, D'Alessandro, Simoncic, followed by Patel. All of them in close pursuit. Nobody looking to go for moves just yet. Further back though, Hoyer all the way down to 16th position now. Oh, and he's off as well at the Ascari, and he's lost his front wheel, and that could potentially be game over for the German. Dylan Scrivens off as well in sympathy. I think that might be the end of Michi Hoyer's day, but at the end of lap 1, Peter, it's D'Alessandro who leads from Simoncic, Patel, Burlak, Biancalila, Kish, Gosby, Mashuli, Harris and White.
Look at Patel. Patel trying to attack Simoncic there. Simoncic already has to go defensive into turn 1 in the second lap of the race. It looked like in the first race that Simoncic would attack Michele D'Alessandro, but after the first 5 corners, Gianni started to fall back and now is under attack by Mohamed Patel.
Michihoya notches up his first retirement of the season out on lap 1, unfortunately, which leaves a big gaping hole in terms of ACR Zach Speed's potential points return for this round. Musto must be rubbing their hands together, especially since their stablemate D'Alessandro is still out up front. Simoncic follows closely in behind, and still that gap between Kish and Gosby continues to grow. 1.5, 1.8 seconds now, the gap between 6th and 7th. We've really got a two-tier system going on here, as Biancalilla, the Italian, looking a little bit feisty, looking a little bit racy against Burlak. I like the confidence from Manuel. It's good to see him up there.
Let's take a little look at Michihoya going off at Ascari. He was fighting with 2 Torrents actually, taking a lot of curb up the inside of Ascari, and then on the second part of Ascari, on the right-hander, he took too much curb and spun out.
And so, part pressure, mostly mistake it seems, unfortunately, for the German, cracking for the first time this season as we head on to lap 3 of 53. Further back, Phil Kraus and Jim Paresis going into battle on the German, I say, with a question mark.
He's from the United States.
He's from the United States. There you go. Very German-sounding surname. But tell you what, he's got the Edge boys now behind him. Edge Esports, they've had a little bit of a fall from grace, considering their pretty decent start to World Championship life. Jim Paresis not scored in a good couple of races. Manu Sarkis has left the team, allowing Jarl Tyen to come in, but he's not made too much of an impression, struggling to get past the American in these early stages. And Florian Becker's flying up the road as well, trying to keep touch with Kian White. Still up at the front, though. Oh, who's that? Who's switched position? It's Mashuli, who's gone round the outside of Martin Gosby at Ascari. That was a lovely little move.
Yeah, Martin is not having the best start of the race right now. Obviously, losing that gap towards the top 6 that have gone off. Now Mashuli's gone past him, and he's got a massive group of flag-to-flag guys behind him, with all of his teammates and sister teammates, and even Sergi Harris might actually be going for a move here on the inside of Martin Gosby. No, maybe he's just saving. That means Kian White has gone down the inside of Sergi Harris, and that is Kian up to what is now P9 for him. Martin Gosby down to P8, just ahead. But yeah, flag at the end of the top 10 right now.
And I'm surprised Kian did that move there in turn one, because you could see Sergi, they paid Martin to save fuel, which is what usually all these WC drivers do, and it looked like not an orchestrated move, like Kian going very late onto the brakes, very far to the inside, and making the move on Sergi there.
I'm all about that.
Name.
Yes. Well, why not as well? You know, stick your name out to potential future employers. Who knows? And I do love that we have the whole flag-to-flag armada here in a very nice flying formation, 8th down to 11th there. So 3 of them scoring. Florian Becker, the unlucky one, just outside of the point scoring positions in P11. Still up at the front, that gap between D'Alessandro and Simoncic has not come down at all. It's not extended past a second. And I'm thinking that really a lot of this first stint is going to come down to how long you can make those ultra softs last. Let's be realistic, guys. They're not going to be lasting long enough to gain a whole pit stop over the harder compound runners behind them. It's all about making these work, and maybe that's why they're really dashing away.
Well, for the strategy side of it, the people starting on these ultra soft compounds, obviously they want to use the extra grip from the cars behind, starting on the harder ones. But as you say, it's going to be very difficult to get a whole pit stop with how close the lap times are around here. So when the leaders start to think about making their pit stop, they are going to have to judge where that gap is. But right now, the highest person not on ultras is Florian Becker in P11. So
sure?
that is the...
Are you sure it's Kian
Yes.
White on the Super Softs?
Oh yeah, sorry, the pink and the red were very close. So yeah, it's Kian White 9. So they're going to have to watch out for that, because that obviously means Kian is presumably going to use the ultra softs later in the race, and those people, you know, Kiss Mashuli and that, are going to really need to watch out for that in a few laps time when their ultra softs start wearing a bit more.
I'm liking what Kean White is about so far in this race. I really am. Watch out for him at the midway stage. Further up the order, Eros Mashudi setting the fastest lap of the race last time around, a 1:22.5. Since getting past Gosby, he's absolutely flown. And I'm starting to think, Peter, that maybe the dirty air is starting to have a real effect on these top 5 guys. Because, I mean, let's see. Mashudi dropped off a little bit there, but I think he made a bit of a mistake. The dirty air is going to be a bit of an effect, though, as Kean, yeah, he's gone past Gosby. So he's now free of plenty of ultra soft runners, all his team / stablemates.
And look, this might be not that stupid actually. If Kean thinks he has more pace than the other flick drivers right now, he can just stay in front of them, pull the others with them in the DS train, and get up to Masculi again.
It's slightly worrying, you know, if he's pacier on these super softs. I mean, we don't often talk about it, but might the track temperature be playing a little bit with these ultra softs, Cam?
Well, potentially. I mean, I didn't really have the best preparation for this race, so I didn't actually do many laps on the ultra soft compounds, but they are a little bit sensitive. Like, you can push them really hard because, I mean, they are basically a quali tire. You can push them really hard, but if you do that, you would just absolutely burn them up. So I think what most of these drivers now are doing, especially in this top sort of 5, 6, they seem to just be in a train, controlling what they're doing, and being very sort of not cautious, but you know, only sort of doing 95% and keeping their tires in line, because they need to make that distance so that later in the race they can potentially open up another ultra soft stint and not have to use the harder tires, which we've seen ACR do, and that has not worked out this season.
And now look up front. Yanne is slowly closing the gap down to Michele, I would say. He's only bit under half a second behind Michele now. Going over the finish line the last time around, and I think might be going for a move, rather sooner than later.
You say that, Peter, but I was looking at him, funnily enough, going into turn 1. I noticed the gap getting closer. The opportunity was there. He didn't strike. I'm wondering whether he's just trying to save fuel while he's in this DRS train. Because I think it's a relatively good strategy to employ. Save the fuel while your title rival is burning away the air in front of you up front. Utilize it later on in the race. I mean, it's what D'Alessandro has done to Simoncic so many times before this season already.
Yeah, I think usually the first stint of the race at the top 5 is all about fuel saving. Like you could see in other races, when the first stint comes to an end, the first moves, like they make the first moves to overtaking P1, P2, whatever. But yeah, it's not uncommon to see them backing off, even though there might be a chance, just to get a better chance, like having a better chance at the end of the race with more fuel and more mixes to use.
In the background, by the way, Sergei Haras has been, I don't know whether he was let through or whether he just purely overtook Martin Gosby. His tyre wear has been a big talking point all season long, Cam, about how he's always been able to struggle. He's not lost the pace that he had. He's just not able to keep the tyres under his control. And we were thinking, oh, well, you know, maybe this circuit's going to be a better one for him. It's got the least amount of corners in terms of rubbing the tyres against the tarmac. It's quite slow. There's not really many fast ones. Maybe save the Parabolica, potentially, Curva Grande. But he's really struggled in these early stages for race pace.
You mean Gosby? Yes.
Oh, I just heard.
Yes,
sorry
yes.
to interrupt you. I've just heard that Martin Gosby has suspension damage since the first turn because he got hit by Michi Hoyer.
There's your explanation.
Although to be fair, you are right. He hasn't had the best start to the season regarding his tyre wear, as we've seen. But you know, it's I don't know, maybe it's just something he's struggling with the car or whatever. So we'll have to see how that works out this race, but it's clearly something that he's doing with his driving.
And now Florian Becker. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, obviously this is being exaggerated because of the damage, and he's obviously on the two-step softer compound than Florian Becker, and Becker is going past.
And you could see on the breaking story, Cameron, how much he was struggling to keep the car in a straight line. So I wouldn't be surprised if he holds down the order even more now.
It's a real shame for Martin, unfortunately. A not so much a casualty, but in casualty after first corner of contact with Michi Hoyer. Then, so it seems, he's now got Phil Kraus all over the back of him, and he'll have the Edge boys very soon as well. Purple first sector from Manuel Biancalila, who's still holding on to the top four, gents. Danny Kish in the last couple of laps has dropped off a little bit, actually falling back into the hands of Eros Mashuli. But I tell you what, first 10 laps, Biancalila can pat himself on the back. This has been a tremendous performance so far.
Yeah, I think Biancalila has shown before in the season that he can be up there. I think that was like at the beginning at Bahrain or something where he was up there with Alessandro, had a good fight with Muhammad Patel at the end of the race, doing extremely good times, but I think so far the rest of the season he didn't impress that much, but you can see he's a good driver. He knows how to drive. Maybe he didn't have enough time for preparation for the rest of the season and had more time now with the 4 weeks break, so yeah, no surprise he's up there, I would say.
2-point scores this season, P6 in the first round at Australia, P6 at the last round in Spa. Maybe finding a bit of consistency after what was a real barren patch of 3 non-scores and then 2 non-appearances, full stop. He returns in Spa, perhaps a renewed man. We shall wait and see as this race progresses. Lap 10 of 53 now. Sure, you're going to be seeing some of the ultra soft runners in sooner rather than later, boys?
Depends on their strategy. If you're going for a 2-stop, then no. But if you want to push and try and get a 3-stop, then maybe. But considering how easy, for instance, Simoncic and Patel are, well, even everyone else, Burlak and Biancalila, considering how easy they're staying with D'Alessandro, they're probably just saving fuel and tyres to go for a 2-stop. So D'Alessandro has often been the person further back in the pack. So this is going to be interesting for him to see how he's managing the fuel leading, because usually, as I said, in the first half of the race, he's always been a bit behind and then used it in the second half to take the lead and go away. But he's already in the lead. He needs to make sure he's saving his fuel correctly. Otherwise, Patel, for instance, who's got a 2-car slipstream all the time, is just going to blast past him with plenty of fuel extra.
And I don't think we've noticed yet, Yao Tayan has just DNF'd like a minute.
Engine?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look what happened there, if I can find it.
While you're taking a look at that, by the way, Phil Kraus has made his way past Martin Gosby, so another Retafilo chicane.
Oh
another
yeah,
position lost, unfortunately.
he's blown his engine in lap 10. That's you know, he might have accidentally pressed his key for a qualifying boost and didn't notice. Like, that's the only explanation I have, that well, two things. He either used quali boost and didn't know, or he maybe had an issue with his wheel and downshifted into neutral and then back into first at high speed.
It's perhaps a little bit unfair to not call Tayan a rookie. He's had 1 race before this season in the World Championship, so by that merit, he's not a rookie. He's in his technically 2nd season of World Championship action. But Cam, that does kind of seem like a rookie mistake. Surely you've practiced the race over qualifying every day of the week and you make sure that your key bindings are set properly.
You'd hope so. Especially when you get to the upper levels of sim racing in general. Stuff like that is normal, or should be normal. So if you're getting something like that wrong, then that's a bit of a shame.
And I think we actually have the first guy in the pit lane right now. It's Michael Ayres, who started on the soft side.
And what was he on? He was on the soft tyres. Yeah.
Wasn't he?
So...
Yeah, he was. He pitted in lap 11 from the soft tires. It also wasn't damage repair. Just checked. He had a normal 4-second pit stop, which is...
Oh, Patel was going down the inside of Yernis Simoncic. Sorry to cut you off there, but he'd gone down the inside of Yernis Simoncic into the final corner. And Simoncic is actually coming back, and he's probably going to have the DRSs. I think Simoncic got him just before. So yeah, actually they both have DRS because they're close enough to Michele D'Alessandro, and Simic is now going down the inside. Can he outbrake Mohammed Patel? No, Patel breaks way later, gets that job done, and that is Patel up into P2, Simic now down into P3.
Beautifully done by the Brit. I was thinking it's a little bit quiet. There was no movement going on. Patel decided to leap on that and said, "Thank you very much. I'll take your position." Behind them as well, Sergi Heras has made his way past Kian White. So Heras, who, remember, he started on the Ultra Softs. He's moving his way through the field as well.
I tell you what, I just realised Martin Gosby now down in P13. Even Paresis has got past him. Sorry if you just mentioned that, but he is now way off Paresis as well. He's almost 2 seconds away, so he is really struggling right there. I'm sure he is just saying, please get me some new tyres to try and somewhat fix his issues. But if it's suspension damage, you can't actually fix suspension damage in a single seater, unfortunately. So that is him to the end of the race with that damage. So, and even Ren's Klopp now is going to look down. Oh no, not quite looking, but maybe in a lap or so, Ren's and it's going to get past him. So yeah.
You know, seeing Patel making the move onto Simic, I would expect them to pit within the next 2 or 3 laps, I would say.
Try and get an undercut at least. It's a good shout. Also, I want to say fair dues to Jim Paresis and Ren's Klopp. You say even Jim Paresis has made his way past Martin Gosby. These are all fast drivers. Let's put it out there. Let's make sure they're all given their due. But I think Martin Gosby certainly in need of a new chassis. Speaking of Ren's Klopp, here he goes then down the inside. Is it going to be a double overtake with Van Delft? Surely not. No, Ren's Klopp there making his way past Gosby. He's going to be absolutely sick of the Retafilo chicane, and unfortunately, there's nothing he can do about it. So lap 14 of 53 we're on then now with the leaders. Michele D'Alessandro has led from the start. Patel now past Simic into second. Burlak and Biancalila holding on to make it a top 5. And then further back you've got Kish in no man's land, Mashuli in no man's land. And then you have the flag-to-flag trio, unfortunately now, of Heras, White and Becker with Phil Kraus. For Breslin, still holding on, to be fair. And I think for Breslin, wouldn't it be nice if they were able to score a point here today?
Yeah, Kian almost, well I say almost, it was quite early on that he retired in Spa, unfortunately, but he was looking really good up into P6 and could have got points on Breslin's debut. But sadly that didn't happen, also with Ton getting a DNF. But now, today it's Phil and Michael in the car. Michael not having the best race down in P20, but Phil is up into P11, and if something happens ahead, he can certainly get some points. Although Jim Paresis is actually now looking, he's probably a bit too far away on this lap, but he's certainly looking to get that P11 away from Phil.
Yeah, let's follow them in as Van Delft is past Gosby as well. Unfortunately, we've had our third retirement of the day. It's Remco Major, who unfortunately, I should really find a different phrase. He found his way into the wall at Ascari, unfortunately. I said it again. He found his way into the wall. Major becomes our third retirement of the day.
Speaking of Remco Major, I've just heard that apparently a few laps ago, Remco and Michael Ayres had contact and Michael had a spin, so this could explain why he had to pit for new tires after 11 laps.
Ah, yes. Okay. It's a shame for Michael on his, well, say WC debut. He actually did, can't remember, I think it was 1 or 2 races at the end of last year as a replacement. I think he raced for Drillers in Brazil. I'm not sure if he did another race. So yeah, it's not his first race in WC, but his first as a full-time driver down there in P19.
Jos Araneda has been in and out of the pits on the super soft tyres. He comes out on the softs. So relatively early stop there for Araneda. I'm wondering whether that was damage related as well. As here we go, we have our first top 10 pitter, Danny Kishin.
Oh, this is a bit early. This might be leaning towards a 3-stop. It's sort of on the limit depending on what tyres he chooses. Yes, okay, soft tyres. So no, he's probably going for a 2-stop strategy, but that's the soft tyres. We need to see if anyone else ahead actually uses the soft tyres or if they can do a double super soft or something like that.
Take a look at Briljak. He's getting closer and closer to Yanni Simic right now. Was getting a little look there into turn 4, I think it is, on the inside of Yanni. Showing Yanni that he's there, and I think we can expect Briljak to make a move onto Yanni rather soon.
Yeah, he's been struggling a little bit for race pace. He can certainly stay in the slipstream, Cam, but at no point does he look to overtake.
Oh, and Felix van der of the Rens Club just had a little moment into turn 4. Let's see if I can find the replay of this. I've just seen them both really slow in the chicane of turn 4 and 5. Let's see. Okay, so Van Delft was behind Rens Club coming out of turn 2. Felix tried to go up the inside. Oh no, it was well, nothing too bad really. It got a bit close on the exit for Rens Club there between the chicanes, but everything fine.
Jim Paresis benefits though. He's up into P11, and Bianca Lila follows Danny Kishin, probably to try and cancel the undercut, I imagine. He's back out on the super soft tyres, so the tyre compound advantage is there. Is he going to be out ahead of Kish on track? Yes, he is. That was a good bit of responding there from the Italian, who slots back in to P16, though, right behind a gaggle of cars.
Yeah, earlier you just said before the Van Delft incident, you were saying about so Berlek at the front, and I think the reason why is because they're just saving fuel. He's just over a second behind Michaela, and he's in 4th, so he's definitely there, and all he needs to do is save fuel now, so for later in the race he can come into it. When I think it was actually in Hockenheim he might have done this. He was sort of a bit behind, and then he managed to make up a few positions. And this battle for the lead is so amazing. We've almost had the first stint, and there's still only a second and a half separating them.
Berlak you were talking about, by the way.
Yeah, Berlak.
I tell you what, I've kept tabs on Berlak's career for the last few years now. He has a wonderful habit of being able to overtake from bad positions. Like he finds it almost like a challenge to move his way through the field, and part of his real party trick, so to speak, is being able to find the perfect time to pit. He's one of the only people in sim racing who I know can consistently make the overcut work. I don't know how he does it, but it's amazing, as we have a few pitters in now: Mashuli, Heras, and Birakov.
Guys, I have to correct myself. The info of Remco and Michael coming together apparently was a speculation, not a fact.
You got to love when things like that come out.
What is fact, though, is how much Eros Mashuli is just lost there in the pit stop phase. He comes out. Actually, hold on. No, he's not lost anything. Don't mind me. I'm done. He was behind Kishin and Bianca Lila anyway.
Yeah, he was already quite a way. He was a few seconds behind already. And he's about 4.5 now from Daniel Kish. So that's roughly where he should be. Although he's on a super soft as well. So Danny is making a bit of a different strategy here. Maybe trying to go long. So for the last stint, he's in the best shape possible. And he's now about to overtake Martin Gosby, who hasn't even stopped yet. Just compounding what a bad race this has been so far for Martin Gosby.
D'Alessandro in. And no one follows him. I know exactly why, though. I direct you to Bianca Lila's times. He was 5/10 faster than the front. He was a second faster than D'Alessandro in Sector 1. So, D'Alessandro, he's in. He comes out on the super softs, but I'm looking at Bianca Lila, and I'm thinking he might actually jump D'Alessandro here. Out of the pits they go. D'Alessandro going up to speed now. I think he might have just gotten away with this. Here comes Bianca Lila down the pit straight. I tell you what, if that's where D'Alessandro has come out, then I fear for Patel, Simoncic, and Berlak.
You say that, but they are going to be all of the fuel that they've been saving. They are going to be using all of that right now. This is going to be quite a fast in-lap, and all of these 3 drivers will probably come in this lap because there's no reason to stay out any longer. This is going to be lap 19 that they're pitting on, so this is pretty much the lap they're going to pit on anyway. Oh, now Berliak's actually trying to get past Simoncic there, which is not the best because actually we lose a bit of time from that. And Bianca Lila is probably going to jump at least one of these when they, well, I assume they're definitely going to come into the pits at the end of this lap.
It depends if Bianca Lila can get past Rens Club right here on the straight before Ascari, which she's trying to, yeah, which she does easily before Ascari. Well, actually, not that easy.
Oh! Wow. That was commitment and a half from both drivers. I applaud that effort. Brilliant defending from Renz. Brilliant commitment from Biancalilla to make it stick as Simoncic and Patel are in. Burlak, we talked about it just a few minutes ago, looking to perform the overcut.
This is interesting. He's going to be going to what? Oh, and Kian White stays out. Oh, he's on the super soft, isn't he? Yeah. But yeah, this is going to be lap 20 for Petter Burliak.
Oh,
so this
Biancalilla's
really
jumping them both.
Position.
Biancalilla is jumping both Muhammad Patel and Yannis Simoncic.
What a strategy call that was from Biancalilla. Already having the best race of the season so far. We know he can be quick, but finally he's showing this in the Formula SimRacing World Championship, and he's now, what is that, effectively about P2.
Net a second, yeah.
So yeah, that is a very good strategy call from him, jumping quite a few positions there in the pit stops, and we'll just have to see what Petter Burliak does. I mean, I can't see him staying out for any sort of one stop, but he can definitely get 2 ultra soft stints in this race when others maybe are pushing that, having stopped a bit earlier.
And look at where D'Alessandro is now as well. He's hooked up behind Felix van Delft, of course, teammate to Biancalilla. So, if Felix is a good teammate, he will make D'Alessandro's life as hard as possible. Ahead of him as well, he's got Phil Krause, who's minding his own business up there in P5. It's lofty heights for these guys, although, to be fair, a lot of them on different strategies. Burlak is in. A mistake from Van Delft on the exit of Ascari might allow D'Alessandro into the Parabolica, but no. Using that slipstream from Krause ahead, Van Delft is able to keep there for now. Let's see, where's Burlak going to come out then? So White, Kian White is going to lead the Italian Grand Prix. What a story that is. Becker, Parisis all follow. Then comes Krause van Delft. And here comes D'Alessandro, who's going to try and overtake 2 cars in 1 corner. Oh, he brakes late. And you know what? He makes it stick as well. What a brilliant piece of driving from Michele D'Alessandro. That is the move of a potential champion.
Yeah, that has got him into a really good position as well, because that's got 2 cars in between him and Biancalilla. And then, obviously, because he did the undercut, he is now many seconds ahead of Patel, Simoncic and Burliak. Burliak came out just behind Simoncic, so lost absolutely nothing, staying out that extra lap. And now Biancalilla is getting caught up between Felix van Delft, who's going down the inside of Phil Krause into Lesmo 1. And this is now getting, who's that, Patel involved as well. So this is a little battle here with like 6 cars coming down the back straight, the second DRS zone. And Felix is trying all he can to help his teammate there, who's actually, no, sorry, that is... yeah, Felix in the lead, so he's not actually helping his teammate that much, because Biancalilla is getting held up, and D'Alessandro is now off into the distance. Wonder if Felix is going to be a nice teammate and let Biancalilla go here, or at least down the main straight as well.
Well, it was a quiet first stint, but we've really seen the Italian Grand Prix of 2018 light up now. Kian White is in for his first pit stop of the day, so that means that Florian Becker goes into the lead, and Van Delft still isn't getting out of the way.
Look at
this could allow Patel through, and look at Burlak on Simoncic behind as well. Patel going down the inside of both twisters. Is he going to cook up a storm? No, he's not. Biancalilla just holds him off, so Patel makes his way past Van Delft, but not past Biancalilla on the other side of things. So look at Burlak and Simoncic going side by side around the Curva Grande. Burlak on the outside, Simoncic on the inside. You've got Danny Kish there for company as well. And now look at Burlak on the inside of the De La Rosier. He's made it stick. He's gotten past Simoncic.
And in all of that, Michele got past, who's that, Jim Parisis as well. And he's now on the back of Florian Becker. Obviously, these guys have not stopped yet. But this is really good for his race. Actually, if he can get past Florian Becker down into Ascari, which I think he is with the overspeed that he's got. He's going to go around the outside of Florian Becker, and this is going to be the lead, and he's going to be probably 3 or 4 seconds in the lead after all of this. So this has been a brilliant pit stop phase for Michele D'Alessandro, because Biancalilla's 3 seconds behind, but in net P2.
Avanti, Forza Sabema? We'll wait and see, won't we, as he takes the lead of the race once again. Parisis and Becker still going on their way, still on the soft tyres. Might these guys be one-stopping, though, is my question to you. I know that they have to use 2 different compounds. How far can these softs go?
It would be a bit of a stretch at 53 laps. Oh, and who's that? Patel.
That's Patel.
Of Biancalilla, and that's Simoncic trying to come back at Petter Burliak, and he's made it stick around the outside of T1. That is a brilliant move from Jerne Simoncic, the last ACR in this race, and he's now got to defend from Burlak, and also Danny Kiss, who is getting involved in this battle now, having sat behind it initially. But is that Burlak trying to come around the outside again? Yes, it is all very close, almost touching through the second chicane, and now Kiss is going to be on the back of Simičić. So, oh no, Simičić, oh wow, he was looking down the inside, and that means now Danny Kiss is all over the back of Simičić. So this is just losing the Simičić time. He's now almost 5 seconds off the lead of Michele D'Alessandro when he was only 1 second before the pit stops. This has not worked out for him, considering he needs to only be gaining points on Michele for the rest of the season.
Tell you what, though, it's worked out for us in the audience. What beautiful racing we are seeing here. We've got to remember as well, Danny Kish on the soft compound tyre. So in comparison to everyone ahead of him, he's on a very different strategy. Is that Patel past Becker as well? Yes, it is. Bianca Lila now being held up by the flag-to-flag engineering car. When are these soft runners going to pit? Paresis doesn't. Becker doesn't. They're going to keep on going. I'm going to put it out there for you gents to discuss now. I reckon they are going to one-stop. In which case, that puts them in with a very good contention of scoring points.
They would need to get towards 30 laps, though, really, and then go on to a set of super softs to the end or something like that. And that is Bianca Lilla getting past Florian Becker and also getting past Jim Paresis. So that's a bit of a double overtake. I think Jim had a bit of an issue there into turn 2, which has let Bianca Lilla through. And now is that Burliak coming around the outside of Florian Becker as well. And then down, that makes... around the outside, which means it's the inside for the second chicane, and he has got past. So Becker's struggling a little bit here, so maybe he's actually going to be coming in very shortly, because that one stop is a bit of a stretch. He's going to have to stay out for another like 5 or so laps, and he's just hemorrhaging lap time right now, because Simičić and Kiss are probably going to get past right now as well. Yeah, Simičić around the outside. I assume that's going to be a move sorted. Is that Burliak getting past Jim Paresis as well in the distance?
Oh, and
so
Daniel...
yeah, Kiss through as well.
Yeah, and some info from further at the back. Michael Ayres and Florian Gaia both just DNF'd.
Michael Ayres with engine as well.
Oh, was it? Let's take
it. It was, yeah. These guys, is it particularly hot in Monza today? I wasn't too sure it was.
Temperatures are the same as normal, but I can't. It's only lap 20. Like it's got to be using maybe the wrong engine setting or something. I know it is his first race this season with this car, but he should have understood this by now. But to die on lap 22 is very strange.
Paresis and Becker both in, by the way, and they're both out on ultra softs, so no one stop for one stop
probably
for them.
Double ultra soft now to the end. So that's actually going to be pretty good, because there'll be 2 relatively short stints for what those tyres can do. And Becker, I think he's going to get passed by Renz Klopp around the outside. Yes, he is. So that's a position Becker needs to make up. But he's going to be very quick towards the end on those double ultra softs.
And Paresis only about 10 seconds away from points. The final point of which is being occupied by Kian White, who's gone from super softs to ultra softs. So a slightly different strategy for him as well.
I've just realised, I don't know what it is about this season, but Jurgen Simičić does not always have the best pit stops. I can't remember which races happened before, but he lost a lot of time at one race. He was on the back of Michele D'Alessandro, just saving fuel, absolutely calm, nothing to worry about. 10 laps later, he's 7 seconds off the lead. Well, that's a lot of time he has lost in that pit stop phase.
Let's look at the timeline then. He was overtaken by Patel, first of all, so that was on track in stint 1. That was fair and square. He got undercut by Bianca Lila, and then to a certain extent he got undercut. Actually, no, he got overcut by Burlak, of which we know Burlak is particularly skilled at those. So he, in essence, he actually went for one of the more normal strategies and came out worse.
I guess that's just how it goes sometimes. With where you get stuck in the traffic, when you get overtaken, and all of that sort of stuff, because that has really not worked out well for him. And even Patel is 3.5 seconds off the lead, and before the pit stops, the top 4 weren't even covered by that. So Michele has done a wonderful pit stop there, and his lack of fuel saving in the first stint is probably not such a big issue now that he's got that bit of a gap he can let Patel catch up into. Yeah,
the next battle I think we're going to be seeing in these top echelons of the field is going to be Biancalila versus Burlak, of which, by the way, Biancalila still doing excellently at this halfway stage, as D'Alessandro is about to head on to lap 27 of 53. We are halfway through the 2018 Italian Grand Prix. Let's take you through your top 10. D'Alessandro from Patel, Biancalila, Burlak, Simoncic, Kish, Mashuli, Heras, Birakov, and Kian White rounding out the top 10. Still very different strategies. Sown across the field.
Petr Burlak here going past Biancalila up
missed
into P3. So that is Biancalila now down into P4. Still doing a good job for him, but that is Musto 2 and 3 right now. Petr Burlak, I think, is going to catch up to Mohamed Patel here. Obviously, he's a lap fresher tyres as well, and he's a couple of laps fresher than Biancalila. So he can certainly use that extra bit of tyre grip that he's got right now. But one thing I've just noticed is Kirill Birakov is in P9.
Yeah.
I don't think we've spoken about him at all today, and he's now up into the points. He's made a pit stop, so he is there on pure pace.
Super soft, ultra soft, though remember, he pitted very early on those super softs. So he's running a similar strategy to Biancalila in a sense. He's undercut a lot of people. I mean, 17 laps on the super softs. D'Alessandro on his first stint went 18 laps on the ultra softs. So although Birakov is reaping rewards now, guys, as is Biancalila, of course, maybe they're going to get a little bit of snapback in the final stages of this race.
Yeah, Petr Burlak is now going to be almost a second ahead. 9/10 ahead of Biancalila already. So maybe this is Petr Burlak sort of just coming back into this fight for the lead. He's almost 5 seconds off the lead, but that is not too bad considering we've got something like 24 laps to go. No, can't count. 25 laps to go. So, so yeah, he's got plenty of time to get back into this fight, and he looks like he's closing down Patel. But Patel is also closing on D'Alessandro, so this top 3 bunching up again, having spread out a bit in this middle part of the race.
We come to the all-important question, though. Sabema is part of the same stable as Musto. Do we know whether these guys are allowed to fight, or are they going to prioritize D'Alessandro in that potential Drivers' Championship?
Well,
I
they
think not now.
they did fight once, and it didn't end that well, to be honest.
No, it didn't.
Yes,
Very
after Silverstone in the post-race interviews, I said to Michaela, I said, are you going to change your approach now? And he said that they will analyse and make a decision on that. Obviously, we don't know the result from their internal discussions, but I wouldn't be surprised if Patel goes for this win. It's not like Michaela needs the points. He's got, is it a 36-point lead?
Well,
so
not only that, but Patel and Burlak, Patel and Burlak are still in the Drivers' Championship chase. I mean, what's it? Patel, is it? Let's go back to the driver standings. Patel is only 10 points off Jone Simoncic. If we're saying that Simoncic is a title contender still, when he's 36 points behind, surely we've got to be considering these guys as well as Birakov. Called it, didn't I?
11 laps.
Called it.
11 laps on the Ultrasoft. That is a little bit too short. As you said a couple of laps ago, Michaela did 18. So that is some proper hot lapping that Kirill was doing right there. So maybe he wasn't quite as far up the order as I thought, because he's obviously on a 3-stop strategy today, because he cannot get to the end on those tyres.
The thing is, we've seen this in earlier races, that Kirill just goes for the softest tires and trying to do some fastest laps of the race.
Yeah, I was in Silverstone as well. He pitted towards the end of his race. He retired a bit early. And I remember he was literally just going for fastest lap of the race and then retired, which is a bit unfortunate because he is a very quick driver. He did really good last time out in Spa before he got disqualified in qualifying, which meant he started from the back of the grid, which just compounded his race, unfortunately. But he's been a little bit disappointing this season, but he's certainly there if Invictus can try and get a bit more out of him.
And you know what? Janne is losing time to the top 4, while he gets caught by Daniel Kish.
On the soft tyres.
On the soft tyres.
Yes, we go back to this point. Have they got a qualifying setup, or do they have a race? Well, if they had a qualifying setup, Cam, not only did they get out qualified by Musso, but now their race is falling apart as well.
this is where the setup was very interesting around this track. We found that lowest of the low wings possible was not the best around here. It was actually too low. So you couldn't run completely like 1-1 wings, basically. So you did have to run a couple of clicks of wing. So and to be honest, higher wings was a bit better. So
I don't think he's doing that though, because he's not been able to overtake anyone this race. He's only been overtaken.
Yeah, so that is a bit strange, because maybe he must have had a couple of clicks more, which would get you a 10th or so in qualifying. But clearly, but maybe it's a false argument, because in the first stint he was just saving. He wasn't trying to overtake, so we potentially never saw his true top speed. But that is potentially what is happening, because Danny Kiss is, as you say, coming up to him on an alternate strategy, which probably will see him get ahead in the next sort of 5-10 laps or so.
Of course, we do have to remember there's one final pit stop phase for these guys, so it's how far can they stretch these tyres. Of course, Danny Kish has a natural advantage. He's on the softer compound tyre, so maybe we'll see the ultra softs come out for the Hungarian again. We'll wait and see, but I do want to take our attention back to the final point position, because talking to people we've not chatted about so far this race, Germano Zappola, he's been nowhere, but he's popped up in the points now, although he's got close company from a certain Felix van Delft. Started at the back of the grid, just one place off a point.
Felix has been quite good this season, but in an understated way. He's unfortunately not the fastest driver in the field, so he keeps on qualifying in a position where he can choose his race tyres, which always puts him on this alternate strategy. And as you say, today he has gained, 12 positions from his starting place already. I know there's been a couple of DNFs, but even then he's ahead of people like Phil and Jim and Florin, who are right on the back end of the top 10 on the early parts of the race. So he has been very good this season, just maybe that qualifying isn't quite there for him, or to what he desires, because we know he's got the speed to be in the top 10, but...
Jan Kalila made a mistake, I think. Jan Simoncic is up Zuring.
He's lost 2-3 seconds.
Yeah, his last lap was over a second slower than anyone's.
Let's have a look. Where
I
was
wonder
that
if his tyres are starting to go. It's a bit early for his tyres to go.
Sector 3? Surely that must have been on the exit of Ascari that he made a mistake then. It's got to be.
Might have been. Don't think I'm able to...
Because the sector line is just before Ascari. And that's the only place, unless you break yourself into Parabolica, where you could potentially lose any time. Either way, it spiced up this battle for P4 a treat, because now Simoncic has something not only to chase down, but to chase down within 5/10 of his viewfinder. So heading through the exit of Ascari now then, Biancalia. To be fair, and I say this with the most love in the world, even if he was to be overtaken by Simoncic, that is still a phenomenal result for Biancalia, and certainly for Twister, showing a lot of signs of recovery in what has been a poor 2018 season. But as we head onto the back straight now, you know the threat that someone like Jurne Simoncic can carry. No DRS for Biancalia, all the DRS for Jurne Simoncic, and that's going to be one of the easiest overtakes he makes all race long, all season long.
Ooh.
He's back up into P4 with a bit of contact to boot.
Yeah, Biancalia just gave him a little tap on the exit. I think Jurne... obviously, because of the extra overspeed, went a bit deep, which meant it tightened up his turn 2. But yeah, Biancaletti's got nothing to come back into turn 4. So yeah, that is the move done for Jurne. And one thing I noticed is, as I said about 10 laps ago, he's 7 seconds off the lead. He's still 7 seconds off the lead. So he clearly has the pace of Michele D'Alessandro. But what is interesting is Patel has caught up about 2.5 seconds since we last really spoke about him. So he's really reeling in Michele D'Alessandro, and I think this brings back the point of team orders. I don't think there are any.
Well, I was going to, it's all fair and well saying you got the pace of Michele D'Alessandro, but when the fastest person on track is Mohamed Patel / Petter Burlak, you want to be on their pace. In fact, Mohamed Patel, almost within DRS range. I think D'Alessandro has just been able to pull out a little bit over the course of this lap. No, he doesn't. And that means that Mohamed Patel does indeed have DRS, which is actually going to help him twofold. It's not only going to make him closer to D'Alessandro, but it's going to pull him away from his teammate as Bianca Lila into the pits.
D'Alessandro made a huge mistake on turn 1. He went sideways into the chicane. Mohamed Patel is basically up his rear wing right now.
So through the Curva Grande we go then. I'm just going to take a little peek at what Bianca Lila's gone into. Ultra softs for Bianca Lila. Oh, mind you though, he could probably make it to the end given the grip levels of this track. So an aggressive option from Bianca Lila. But again, it might prove beneficial in at least undercutting Jone Simoncic for a second time. It's the battle for the lead then. D'Alessandro versus Patel. Patel, who has not won a race this season, the reigning champion. He could very well be staring down the person who is going to take his crown. But while he still has something to say about it, Cam, he's going to have a go.
Yes, he is certainly going for this. And as we saw in Silverstone, he is ready for that win this season. He won, I can't remember, it was like 7 or 8 races last season. Absolutely dominant, but this year just hasn't been there for him. But he's got the pace, and with Michaela making that little mistake in Sector 1 last time around, certainly showing that the opportunity is there for Patel, and even Burlak is coming now, but it's all about Patel, who's still in the DRS of Michaela, and I think he's probably just working his way towards the pit stop now, because I assume in, well, however many laps they can get out, maybe 1 or 2 laps more on these super soft tyres, they'll go to the ultra soft. And maybe Patel will try and get some sort of undercut to try and take victory today.
Van Delft is past the Pala. And, oh, did someone spin in the pits? No, Bianca Lila's in again.
He must have sped. He must have sped. Is he going to do just a drive-through penalty? Yes, it looks like he's not going into a pit stop. So, that's a shame for him. Yeah, he must have sped going into the pit box last lap, and that is him now down into, what's that, P17.
I'm thinking that's going to be... I think he's still in the points, but it's going to be nowhere near the P4 that he was fighting over.
Yep, he got a speeding penalty. Let's take a little look at his pit entry.
That's a real shame.
Yeah, best race of the season so far for him has just turned into pretty average one.
But it's...
Oh, he was way too late on the brakes. Like, that was a serious speeding in the pit lane right there. He can be happy that he didn't get a stop and go for this.
I guess that's a positive way to look at it, certainly. But the World Championship giveth, and the World Championship giveth away, or taketh away. Giveth away?
Eros Mashuli is into the pit lane, who was on a similar strategy. In fact, he was on the same one as Bianca Lila.
Got to be ultras, yeah.
Yep, ultra soft tyres. He's going to come out... Oh, no, Zapala's pitting, so he's probably going to come out in clean air, actually, because he's going to get out ahead of Jim Paresis, I would assume. Actually, no, it's going to be a bit closer, Jim Paresis. Paresis got past, in fact, so, yeah, he's going to be in a sort of bit of clean air, couple of cars, but that could be good for him later on.
Kirk also in the pit lane. I think he had a little battle with Jim Paresis for P11, but went off track afterwards. So,
top three are very close. Peter Burlak is actually going possibly for an overtake. Actually, no, they're shutting their DRS early. They're being nice and calm. These three might all be pitting this lap as well, because that's going to be, 17 laps to go. So that is obviously easily comfortable on the ultra soft tyres, but you want to pit as late as possible to have the freshest tyres at the end, but you also want to pit first to get the undercut. So I wonder if all drivers in this top group will pit this lap, or in fact will any of them pit. No, they are staying out for another lap, so they are playing the game of I want the freshest tyres at the end.
I don't have any money to bet, but I bet you Burlak is the last of those three to pit.
Oh, Patel's going for it down the
Patel goes for
it. Wow, that's a move we weren't quite expecting. I thought he was going to save behind, but this is... So, Patel will pit this lap. So instead of getting the undercut, he's going to overtake and then effectively get an undercut at the same time. So this is where he's going to use all his fuel, although Michaela is going to do everything he can to stop him. Oh yes, they were both going deep into the braking zone with their fuel mixtures there as well. So this is probably going to be the pit lap, I would say, considering Patel has chosen this time to go past when he's had the last 5 laps to do so.
And you know, they could stay out longer and not pit immediately because Bianca Lila got his speeding in the pit lane. He would have been a threat with the undercut, but he completely ruined it. Leading into.
That's true, but they've also got to watch. I mean, this is still a race within these three, and any undercut could potentially gain time. At the same point, you look at Burlak and how much time he gains in the overcuts. He might not care. He might just be on his own strategy. They're only just completing their 19th lap on the super softs, of which these guys did about 18 laps on the ultras. They could probably go on for another 3-4 laps if they really wanted. And it seems that all three of them are going to go on again.
Wow. Okay, so they are really going deep. So this actually shows how good their tyre wear is. And Danny Kiss pits despite being on the soft tyres. So he is obviously, I mean, he's a bit in no man's land to be honest, but he's obviously going to get a bit of an undercut on to Yerny Simoncic, and Kian White in 6th place in the flag-to-flag car is pitting as well. I assume for another set of Ultra Softs. Yes, it is. Everyone pitting now is obviously going to be going to the Ultra Softs if they've already used a different set of tyres.
It's got to be Ultras until the end. I'm wondering whether Danny Kiss is just throwing caution to the wind. He actually comes out in 6th, just one place behind where he pitted, just ahead of Jim Paresis. He's got nothing to lose. He's in no man's land, so he might as well pit now and get the most out of the Ultras and the undercut. Going back up to the front, though, Patel still only 2/10 ahead of D'Alessandro. Burlak's just decided to sit off a little bit. I'm wondering whether he's saving fuel again.
Or the others are using their fuel and he isn't.
And he isn't, yeah. In which case, technically, he's still saving fuel on the people ahead of him.
Yeah. With the 7 fuel mixtures that these drivers have, always Michaela pitting. Yep, he's very tight on the exit. Is that yes? So he's going for the undercut. So this is probably going to give him the lead. But obviously the two Mustangs are going to have that extra tyres. And yes, Simoncic is pitting as well. So this will all be for the Ultra Soft, and they're going for a quick blast to the end. They did 18 laps on a full tank of fuel, so they could probably do about 20, 21, and they're only going to have 15 laps. So they can push to the end on these tyres all of the way, assuming they have the fuel. Felix van Delft pits from 5th place, although that is going to be about 7th or 8th when he comes out of the pit lane as well.
How long has Jim Paresis been going on those super... Oh, no, he's not been getting too long. Don't worry. I was thinking he was doing some incredible job. He's only 14 laps in on that pair. So, still, Mohamed Patel and Peter Burlak continue on their way. Michele D'Alessandro is 21.9 seconds off the lead. So actually, if Burlak pits now, and if Patel pit now, obviously not on the same lap, but at the current time stamp, they would actually come out ahead.
Well, no, it's a little bit more than that. It's sort of like 23, 24 seconds-ish. And obviously, Michele is going to have a big undercut here because obviously being on the Ultra Soft tyres, he has that step in tyres and they're brand new. And are the two Mustos coming in? Patel is, and yes, Burlak is as well. So hopefully they do not speed, which I don't think they did. So yes, the two reigning world champion and ex-world champion of former SimRacing are in the pit lane, both for the Ultra Soft tyres. And Patel had to get around his teammate there, so that would have lost him a few tenths of a second, and Michele is going to blast back into the lead of this race because there's no way that they would have been able to overcut Michele on the Ultra Soft tyres. Yes, he goes through. But now, he's actually not as far ahead as I thought. So this puts the two Mustos in a really, really good place. They've got a lap fresher tyres. They've got plenty of fuel having sat behind him. They are going to really push down on Michele D'Alessandro and see if they can get past in these closing 14 laps.
Eros Mashudi makes his way past Florian Becker into P6. Of course, Becker still needs to pit again, so we think that's what Jim Paresis has done, and he comes out in P15. So actually, important for Biancalila. He's back into the points. I'm guessing he'll overtake Birakov just through pure strategy alone. Maybe Renz Klopp as well? Yeah, definitely Renz Klopp. So overall then, Biancalila is going to finish up P7, which is not terrible. But
it's a shame. It's a shame from where he could have been, to be honest. Although, to be honest, as this is his first proper race, he probably will be a bit disappointed that he couldn't have been challenging at least Yerne for P4. But he's at least shown now he has the speed. Twister have the speed. And in the future, I'm sure we're going to see him at the top a lot further, because he's got good potential. He's still relatively young and inexperienced in WC.
This is his
and
rookie season.
Yes, so that's gonna, things are gonna happen, is what I'm trying to say. So as long as he learns from it, doesn't get too annoyed that he hasn't had the best start of the season, he will continue to do these good races.
Here comes all the positions as Becker, Klopp, and Birikov are all into the pit. So Biancalila goes through to P7. Although, mind you, he's got Sergei Heras in very close pursuit. I did not notice Sergei riding onto his gearbox there. But he's there on genuine pace. He's only 4 laps into these Ultra Softs. We have a battle for 7th.
Yes, Sergio obviously pit a few laps ago now, so his tyres won't be in perfect shape, but he is still in a very good position to get Biancalila. Biancalila obviously, judging from qualifying in the first stint, probably has a bit more pace, but Sergio is going to be going for this 7th place, which I think will be his best points finish of the year if he can get that. So I'm sure he's going to be going for that very much so. And Kian White down in 10th place, having made his final pit stop. Looks like he is in a position to get points if Felix van Delft cannot overtake in these last few laps.
Yeah, I'm going to say there's a couple of rookies down there. Zappala and White, both rookies for this season. Of course, Zappala having to overcome a 5-place grid penalty as well. Those two having outstanding races, as is Felix van Delft, one of the more experienced, although not much. He's only had 8 World Championship races himself, but he's not a rookie because he had a race last year, or a couple of races, I think. Either way, he's a little bit more experienced. He knows FSR well, and he knows how to overcome a starting from the back of the grid. All of them are doing well. You do well, and you do well, and you get compliments. Let us turn our attention back to the front, though, because Mohamed Patel is back within DRS range, and he's dragging his teammate for company as well.
Yeah, Patel is 100% going for this Berliak as well. And Simoncic has caught up a little bit. He was 7 seconds behind a few laps ago. He's now 4.5. So he even may get involved in this battle. But yeah, Patel, 8/10 behind at the last split. He is going for this 100%.
I'm guessing not having Biancalila in the battle has really helped. I guess both Simoncic and Kish. Speaking of, actually, Kish has been able to close up the gap to Simoncic to less than 2 seconds as well.
Yeah, Danny Kiss has had a quiet race again, just on the back of that top group that we've seen him be in. Obviously, he returned after the first few races of this season. It was Alari, I'm going to butcher his name, but Alari Augpus, who was supposed to be in that car. But unfortunately, because of other commitments, he couldn't make it. So they had to replace it with Danny Kiss, who, in quotation marks, retired at the end of last year. Clearly, he got bored very quickly and is back in that seat, doing very good for the Netrex. Always just been outside of this top 4, because I think this top 4 now of D'Alessandro, Patel, Berliak, and Simoncic is definitely our best 4 on the grid at this current moment. Kiss, race winner last year. He was ace champion, wasn't he? A couple of years ago as well.
Ace champion in 2016.
So he's obviously got that talent, and but he's not quite been there, but he's getting there slowly. And I think he's going to be challenging Yanni Simoncic as it comes to the end here.
I'm going to lay down the numbers for you. 38 World Championship races under his belt. 4 race wins, the last of which was Malaysia 2017. 7 podiums and 1 singular pole position, which was Bahrain 2016. I know that real life gets in the way sometimes, but it would have been a shame to see a driver of Danny Kish's caliber retire fully from e-racing. Good to see him back and good to see him where he belongs in the top half of proceedings. 44 laps. We're on the board now, out of 53, into the final 10. And Mohamed Patel, well,
yes,
he's got 10 laps to try and overtake him. Not only overtake D'Alessandro, of course, but keep his teammate behind as well.
Yeah, they are properly there now. They were just on the edge of the DRS, but now 4/10 behind. He is there. A move will be coming very, very quickly.
And we also have a battle for P9 right now, or rather for the last points positions.
Oh yeah.
Zappala, Kian White, Felix van Delft all battling for P9 as Felix van Delft makes a little bit of a mistake there out of turn 2, but the battle is on for the last 2 points positions.
So at the top and at the bottom of points paying positions, there's plenty of action going on. I understand there is a reason to go down to Zappala, White and Van Delft, but we've got 25, 18 and 15 points on the line for first, second and third. It's the battle for the podium. And I tell you what, this Grand Prix has, I know it started slow, but it has boiled and boiled, and now it's overflowing with a lot of fantastic action, starting front and center with these three. Onto the back straight we go then. Lap 45 of 53. Mohammed Patel is within 0.5 of a second. DRS open. The only one of these three not to have DRS is Michele D'Alessandro. He closes, but he does not choose this opportunity just yet to go for the move.
It is such a pleasure to see three of the best drivers that there pretty much is in sim racing, and definitely in Formula Sim Racing. Obviously, we got 2 world champions and 1 potential world champion.
Oh, and we could see Felix van Delft
to get this race win.
Felix van Delft trying to make a move on Kian Wright, while Kian makes a move onto Zappala. They make contact in between turn 1 and turn 2, Kian Wright and Germano Zappala. Now there's a bit of a gap there, and Felix van Delft is wide up there, trying to get past Kian Wright into turn 4, trying to go up the inside in the braking zone.
Yeah, we'll side by side. This one, yep. That was really nice from Van Delft there into the De La Rosier chicane. And Kian Wright, oh, he's worked so hard to score a point today. But right now, he finds himself only on the cusp. Perhaps Zappala will fall off. Perhaps Van Delft will be able to help him in a different way. We will keep you up to date with that battle for P9, 10 and 11. It's back up to the front again, though. We're onto the back straight. These laps, they come fast and furious here at the Temple of Speed. Patel is going to need a bit of divine intervention on the DRS part now, though. Yep, here we go. Into the Retapilio chicane. Oh, this is surely it. He breaks late, and there wasn't much that D'Alessandro could do there. Mohammed Patel retakes the lead of this race. Is he on course for his first win of the season?
Potentially, but there is no reason why D'Alessandro Burlak cannot. In fact, Burlak, is he going to have a look here down into the second chicane? No, a bit too far away. There's no reason why D'Alessandro cannot come back from this, but Patel is really going to push now for this lap or two, see if he can get out, not necessarily out DRS, but out of the effective DRS zone.
And keep an eye also on Yerny Simčić, who's brought the gap down to under 4 seconds. If these three are to get a little bit more feisty with each other, there is nothing to say that the Slovenian is out of the running just yet. Through Ascari we go then. And what we're really looking for now, I guess, Cam, is can Mohammed Patel grow a gap between himself and D'Alessandro? Because that is something that the Italian has struggled to do all race long, whether it be with Patel, Burlak, or Simčić.
I think so. I think Michele has spent far too long at the front of this group, the whole race. He won't have, there's no way he's going to have as much fuel. And Patel there weaving to try and get out of the slipstream. But yeah, there's no way Michele's got enough fuel spare. So Patel will be using as much as he can to get a lead. But to be honest, that DRS zone is very powerful, and D'Alessandro is right there. So this is going to be a battle right to the last lap.
I tell you what, this reminds me a lot of horse racing. If you bet on horse racing, generally, unless the horse is an absolute machine, the guy who leads, not going to win the race, ever, because they're burning themselves out way too early. And there are similar parallels here to D'Alessandro. He has led what must be 70% of this race so far. He's weaved his way through the traffic, through the different strategies wonderfully well. But he's also had very little usage of the DRS, whereas everyone behind, in that initial train of 5 of 6, they've had DRS for pretty much every lap of this race. They've been able to fuel save an awful lot more, and this is what is giving Mohammed Patel the advantage. Though still behind Peter Burlak, not yet in a position to potentially challenge D'Alessandro. The Italian doing well to keep the Croatian off his back.
Yeah, for the first time in this race, I'm actually going to have a look at what the top speeds are of these drivers. And actually, Burlak is probably going to have a look here at Michele D'Alessandro. Michele is too far away to get a proper full-on slipstream. That's 363 Ks for Burlak, who goes down the inside of Michele D'Alessandro. And this is not good for Michele, because Yerny is behind him. So he's not going to be gaining that many points. And it seems maybe Michele's race is done regarding the win of this race.
And in the
commentating.
meantime, Sergio Harris managed to pass Bianco Lilla while Felix on the left is attacking Germano Zappala down into turn 1.
Yeah, let's stick with this move then. Van Delft on the outside and contact between the two as two lines meet and Van Delft is forced over
He's gonna have to
the
get that back.
anti-cuts.
Yes, he has. Okay. Yeah, he cut the chicane now, unfortunately, so he's going to have to give that place back to Zappala. But now he's done that, he's going to go try and go around the outside into the second chicane. Although now Zappala just had the top speed advantage on that, and this is all giving Kian White even more incentive to get ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kian White very much rubbing his hands together, isn't he? So, for the second race, we might potentially have on the cards here a Musto 1-2. The question now is which order are they going to come out in? It was Burlak followed by Patel in Spa, of course. I know that we say that they are at, you know, their will's length to battle. But in this particular case, when both drivers would be earning good points on D'Alessandro and Musto would be gaining such amazing points in the team's championship, Cam, why risk it?
Because
it's a race win.
Yes.
That is the correct
Yeah,
answer. Well done.
That is why. These guys are all wanting to get the best position for themselves. They are there, contracted to that team.
Felix
But
on left.
they are there for themselves.
Felix on left trying it again. This time he has much more overspeed, makes the move forward, the braking for turn 1 even up into 9.
Has Twister had 2 cars in the points before this season? Oh, they must have, surely. Yeah, so race 1, Van Delft and Bianca Lila.
Oh,
So it would
yes.
be the first time since Australia that 2 Twisters are scoring points.
Yes, they had a nice battle in the closing laps, if I remember. There's some nice rubbing going through the first sector. But yeah, now, I mean, Bianca Lilla, Felix starting from the back of the grid, Bianca Lilla starting from, is it P5 or something like that, and now they are in the same part of the track, but still, good race from Bianca Lilla, just not quite as good as it could have been, with Sergi Harris up in P7 doing a good job for leading the flag-to-flag
And
train.
Felix is making a
Delft?
move on Bianca Lilla. Bianca Lilla is
Goodness
really
me.
slow. Bianca Lilla is losing a lot of time here.
Ridiculous, the overspeed from Felix Van Delft. Bianca Lilla, I thought that P7 was going to be safe. Anything but. He's under threat on not scoring.
Remember, he was the first one to pit.
He was.
So, and he pit with, what was it, 20 laps to go or something? And we said, it's a little bit much. And he's going to get done here by Zappala as well. And Kian White is also in the background. But firstly, Zappala is going to go down the in. Oh, actually, maybe he doesn't quite have the top speed there. Actually, yeah, he doesn't have the top speed there even. Oh, Bianca almost hits his teammate onto the run off of turn 1. But no, that was just close enough that he didn't have to do it. But now Zappala trying to go round the outside of the Curve Grande. No, Bianca Lilla blocks that off. Can he now go around the outside into the chicane instead? Seems like... Oh, Kian White! Big dive bomb! Ricardo style down the inside. Now the outside, he's going to get pushed off into the gravel. Yep, that was always going to happen, unfortunately. And that has put Jim Paresis ahead of Kian White.
Where did he come from?
Oh, well, he was just sitting there a couple of seconds back. But this battle has really put him... in chance there for the last couple of points.
Oh, this is brilliant battling. I'm loving every single moment of this. Bianca Lilla, send your prayers, almost committing the cardinal sin of hitting your teammates. And here goes Jim Paresis around the outside of Zappala at Ascari. He's forced Zappala over the anti-cuts, but Jim Paresis from absolutely nowhere might be on the edge of scoring a points finish. Haha, I fit it in. I'm feeling pleased with myself.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jim Paresis, he's a race winner. He's a multiple second place finisher in the championship, so he's obviously...
Oh, look at Prix and Patel battling down into turn 4. They're nearly side by side there. Muhammad Patel had to defend against Prix.
Up the grid, down the grid, it doesn't matter where you look. There's battles everywhere now as Jim Paresis, is he past Zappala? He's in the DRS zone and Zappala breaks very late into the Retifilia chicane. And Paresis is now surely going to... Oh, a bit of a tank slap or an exit though. I'm keeping my eye on Patel and Burlak, don't you worry. But for now, this could be a battle for the final point, which could be crucial for Edge, as they have had a really poor run of form recently. Side by side into the Della Rosier chicane, Zappala on the inside, and again defending as if his life depended on it. The Italian doing so well at his home race. Watch out for Kian White. I think he's fallen off a little bit, but the momentum all with the Greek Jim Paresis.
I tell you what, It looks like I think Burlak made a bit of a mistake on one of the Lesbos, but it looks like Patel might be able to just defend this. Let's see what Burlak can do. See, he gets really close, but he's going to need a big dive bomb down into turn 1, because Patel seems to be just about quick enough that he can hold this if he can hold on for the last 2 laps of this race. That is right, we've only got 2 laps left of this race, and we still do not know who's going to win. Burlak is now going to try into the second chicane. Yes, he's gone. Maybe a bit of boost there. Round the outside, can he make it stick? No, not quite. He's going to have to duck back in, but that is going to slow Patel down a little bit. It's going to open up the second DRS zone of this lap, coming onto the back straight. But no, again, he lost a bit of time in the Lesmos. This is where he lost a bit of time last time. And you sort of have to build it up through this track, because now he's going to be further away. He's going to have to gain all this time back through Ascari, which won't help him coming down the main start-finish straight as well.
And Paris tried again onto top line to turn 1, and now Kian White is on the back of Jim Paris because he had a little bit of a bad exit there. And really side by side, Jim Paris with a huge lock up into the 4.
Battles everywhere you look, but we must look in one place right now. We're going on to the final lap of this race, and it's a straight shootout between Burlak and Patel. D'Alessandro, he's going to be picking up any pieces if there are tears by the end of this race. We certainly hope there isn't, because it's been a wonderful battle from start to finish. Final lap of this amazing Italian Grand Prix, and Burlak breaks around the outside. He tries to get the undercut. He hits his teammate on the rear wing. That allows D'Alessandro almost in. Patel holding on for dear life. This would be his first race win of the season. Burlak looking to make it back-to-back wins. Either way, Musto. Oh, the commanders in chief there, just fingers crossed that their cars come home in one piece in a 1-2 position for the second time in 2 races. D'Alessandro still very close, still looking to win his home race as we head into Lesmo 1. Again, Burlak losing a little bit of time there in the dirty air. Through Lesmo 2 we go now. This is where Burlak and D'Alessandro start to pick up a little bit of pace. On Mohamed Patel onto the back straight now. Burlak, D'Alessandro, both picking up DRS. And look how defensive Patel feels he needs to go into Ascari. They're side by side. Contact between the two. Burlak still trying to muscle his way through. It doesn't work out, and this could allow D'Alessandro through for second. Onto the back straight we go now. Such an exciting finish to this race. Burlak going ultra defensive. There goes D'Alessandro on the outside. It's almost 3 wide into the power.
Oh, no.
Patel spin. Patel loses it at the final corner under braking, and that means that at the end of this race, what a finish that was! Peter Burlak picks up his second race win in 2 races. D'Alessandro inherits second position, and Juraj Simoncic is going to pick up a podium that he didn't even think he was going to have a chance of getting. He takes P3, Patel P4 after a crucial mistake. Danny Kish picking up P5 with Mashuli P6. Heras will take home P7 with Van Delft from the back of the grid P8. What a drive from the Dutchman. Zapala and Jim Parisis, they're in the points. And is this going to be a race to the line as well? It's going to be Zapala 9th and Parisis 10th. Is because Bianca Lila, unfortunately, his engine, his tyres, they were pushed too far. White 11th. Bianca Lila 12th, meaning that it's not the first twisted double score since Australia. Oh, you got to feel for Manuel. His race completely unraveled after that drive-through penalty. Becker followed home by Klopp, Birikov, Kraus, Gosby, Scrivens, and Aaron Adia. Retirements from this race were Michael Ayers, Florian Gaia, Remco Major, Jarltine, and of course, Michi Hoyer in that dramatic first lap accident, I should say, at Ascari. Cam, what a finish that was.
That, I have to say, congratulations to Musto. Even though Patel, unfortunately, spun at the end, but that was such a difficult battle. Remember, these guys are teammates. They are fighting for the constructors' title. They're fighting for the drivers' title, and they are letting their drivers battle that hard. I have to say, well done to Musto for giving us that battle, because that was awesome.
I have to have a drink of water after that. Goodness me.
Wow. Yeah,
Peter?
that was awesome.
I was going to say, Peter, Mohammed just can't seem to escape the ends of races without having drama happen in his face.
No, I'm just taking a look at the replay. There was... Oh. Yeah, he locked his front right wheel into Bolika, and knew he was going wide and tried to brake even harder, but by braking harder, he locked rear tires and spun off.
Small margins is what decides whether you win or lose a World Championship race. And unfortunately for Mohammed Patel, is it a sign that the times are changing? He was impervious in 2017, but these are mistakes that lose you championships.
I tell you what, the first person who's come for an interview is the person who unfortunately made that mistake on the last lap. So let's get him in and see what his initial reaction is.
Oh, Mohammed, I feel for you. Take us through that final corner. It just seemed like you clipped your wheel on the inside of the curb there.
No, I accidentally went into reverse. I think I went up and down shift together.
Really?
It's quite nice driving, you know, really clever. I'm actually, more than anything that I lost the win, I'm really sorry that I gave Simoncic another free 3 points. That's probably the most disappointing thing about today, because Monza's a circuit where we struggled a lot, and today we had 1, 2, 3 signed, sealed, and delivered until I did something special. Petter, unfortunately, I don't know if you guys already know, but he can't do this interview. He has no microphone, so he can't make it. But so I'm here to replace him.
I've chatted with Petter for the last month or so, and I've heard his microphone slightly dying. So I understand where you're coming from. To be fair, though, if anything, it not only shows that you had the pace to win this race, it not only shows that you had the defensive guile to win this race, but it shows that at a track where Musto and Sebema have been historically not so great, you've been able to turn the tide.
Yeah, that's amazing, you know. Like, to be honest, at this current moment in time, I would rather we were 30 seconds behind Simoncic. That might have felt quite a lot nicer. So, well, you know, it's okay. We gained the points on the constructors. Mick gained points on Simoncic in the drivers. So, all in all, it's a good result for the team. Myself, not so much. But the result, you know, like the performance that we had, to be honest, it shows the good work that myself, Petter, and Mick did through the season so far. And although we didn't really practice too much for this race, we were confident with the car. So that's important. And hopefully we can do the job for the next couple of races to seal both championships. So yeah.
I admire how rational you are being in the face of a race win going down the
well,
pan
I
like
messed
that,
up.
But
So
it's true, but I mean, listen, I think that's the sign of a champion, certainly, where you're able to just take that on the chin and move forward. Thank you so much for your time, by the way, Mui. We really do commiserate.
yeah.
And
oh
well, indeed. Well, let's look at it positively. Let's look at the stable side of things. Of course, Sebema doing well, Michele D'Alessandro doing well, picking up P2. Overall, you're just gaining points on Jurne Simoncic. You're second in your home race, just missing out on that top spot in the end.
Yeah, I think could have been better this race, but at the end of the first stint, when I pitted, then I came out in traffic, and probably in that period I wasted a bit too much fuel, and I had to save more than Mu and Petter, and probably my second stint pace wasn't great. And at the end, I didn't really have the fuel to fight with Mu and Petter. So from one side, personally, it's good that Mu did a mistake, but of course, as a team, it's very bad because we lost many points, and constructor, and also for Mu himself. And well, at the end, I don't know. We could have been 1, 2, 3 easy, and it's only 1, 2, 4. But considering the past, Monza, we can be happy.
Well, there's just to consider as well. I'll let you ask a question, but actually, I'll hand it off to you, Cam, in saying, let's be fair. ACR only had 1 car score with Hoyer not scoring.
Mm-hmm. No, I was going to say, Michele, considering how the race ended in Silverstone, I have to say, well done for letting your drivers race that hard, because that was an awesome battle at the end. And I think it's good for the league that you guys are battling that hard. I mean, into that last corner, any of you three drivers could have won that race.
Should have done team orders.
Oh well, yes, but you still gained in the championship. But I will ask you again: is this how you're going to continue going forward? Because I hope it is, because that was just stunning.
I think from race 1, when we had fight between Mu, Biancolilla and Felix, to this race, we only proved that we are racing each other. Even if we come all from the same team, but we are not sister team on track. We race each other. We don't help each other. We all want to win, and I think the last lap is a proof of that. I mean, Mu spun because, of course, he was pushing, he was fighting. With team orders, we would have been P1, P2, P3. But we all want our best. We put the team in front of ourselves, but we race each other. There will be no team order until the end of the season. So
that's good to hear.
Well, thank you very much for your thoughts, Michele. Ultimately, a P2 for you. It helps you win the Drivers' Championship against our third interviewee, Jerne Simoncic. It was a frustrating race, it seemed, from your side of things. Not really able to overtake properly on track, but at the end of those 53 laps, you find yourself with yet another podium. So it could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse as well.
Well, thanks to Mu for spinning off or whatever happened there, so I get podium. Yeah, I'm quite frustrated, but podium is okay. I have a debt to pay, so thanks a lot for our title sponsor Trustmaster for sending me replacement shifters for my F1 rim, which makes it a lot easier for me to drive now that I can use it again. But yeah, about this race, I knew what was going to be the biggest problem, and it is that we have one team. And I lost my count of how much teams we used to have, but we didn't really have a chance to properly test these Monza trains and fuel saving. So I knew from the start that it's going to be a problem. And as I expected in the second stint, I was totally lost. I didn't know what to do. We maybe should have pitted a lap earlier, because then I had like 5 cars all over the place in front of me, and I just lost 7 seconds to Michele. But yeah, P3 in the end, it's a podium, it's something, I guess.
4 races left. Do you personally believe that you can overhaul the points deficit to Michele D'Alessandro?
At this point, I don't think it's really my goal to win the championship, for the reasons I already stated, maybe on the forum or some time ago. But I will do. I mean, I'm comfortable. I have the potential to win every race. We can do double podiums with Michi. But yeah, 4 races to go. We will do all we can and try to beat them.
Fascinating answer. Thank you very much for your time, Jerne. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us. And as I said there, Cam, Peter, we're heading into the final 4 races, the final third of this championship. It's another month break until round 9 of 12, but we head to another one of my favorite tracks, although one more for the modern era, Singapore.
Yeah, much less forgiving for mistakes this race. And Singapore might be a deciding factor for it.
Very technical, Cam. Very different to Monza in so many different ways.
There has been some surprise results at Singapore. I mean, sitting in this room, Jerne Simoncic, he won his first race back in 2016 at Singapore, along with a number of good drivers that year as well. So it's going to be a very interesting race. It's going to be a long race. I mean, this is the shortest race of the season, Monza. Singapore will probably be the longest. It'll probably be, closing on 2 hours, even though these cars are pretty fast. So it's going to take a lot of concentration. And as Peter said, it might be quite a deciding factor for the championship. So we'll have to see when we get there. But yeah, there's a few weeks break because of the summer. So hopefully teams will do a lot of practice and we'll see them there.
We certainly hope that you'll decide to join us, audience. Pencil the date in 19th of August. That is when Formula Sim Racing returns with the Pro, Ace, and World Championships. Singapore, what a track to come back to. And then it's from there on out. We've left Europe. We're heading off abroad. It's Singapore, followed by Japan, the US, and Brazil. What a great ending to what has been a fascinating season. We certainly hope to see the championship continue to rev up in those final 4 races. Just like to take these final moments to thank Mr. Peter Schulze for being our cameraman and analysis commentator, to yourself, Cam, for being a color caster alongside myself. Well, I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, it is a very warm goodbye.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play?
Yeah, I mean, after I play first. Yeah.
You know, I'll race it for it.
So I have a hand.
Do you want a more immersive experience? Thrustmaster T150 force feedback racing wheel. Official PS3 and PS4 licenses, and also PC compatible. Rubber coated wheel grips. 1080 degrees of rotation. Adjustable force feedback. Large metal sequential pad. Optimized ergonomic design. Mixed belt, pulley, and gears system. Thrustmaster. Enter into the real driving world.